I know your story. I know the one you've been forced to live for years. You've been told you're too intense. You've been persuaded to strap on a suit of heavy, rusted iron armor over a soul that was meant to feel the weight of a single butterfly's wing. How many times have you heard it? Why do you take everything so personally? You've lived in shame. You've carried the weight of a constant, crushing fatigue. But I am standing here to tell you, the identity they gave you is a lie. You are not flawed. You are not weak. And you are certainly not a system error. Scientists call it sensory processing sensitivity, but let's use a better name. You are a high-resolution sensor. While the average person sees the world as a blurry, low-res thumbnail, your mind is rendering existence in full-scale, ultra-sharp detail. Your depth is not a sickness, it is a high-level data acquisition tool, and it is time the world learned to respect it. To understand yourself, we have to look at the hardware. This isn't an attitude problem, it is physiology. Your nervous system handles life differently than the other 80% of the planet. Think of most minds as a simple window. It lets in the light, it's clear, it's functional. But your mind is a prism. Every single beam of ordinary white light that hits you is instantly shattered, exploding into 1,000 different colors, each one demanding to be seen. Neuroscience shows us 3 specific upgrades in your circuitry. 3 reasons why everything feels so heavy. First, the gate is wide open. Neurologists call this a lack of sensory gating. Most people have a bouncer at the door of their mind. Your mind is an open courtyard. Every passing breeze, every stray scent, every flickering shadow is invited to sit at the head table. Your brain labels it all as important. The scratch of a wool sweater, the hum of a light bulb, the slight edge in a barista's voice. You process it all, simultaneously. This is why you crash, but it's also why you see the nuance, the art, and the hidden dangers that everyone else just misses. Second, your empathy is on steroids. It's in the insula, the part of the brain where we process the inner world. You aren't just observing the world, you are a deep, still lake. And when someone drops a stone of sorrow miles away, the ripples travel through your entire being until your own shores are trembling. Third, the lag. Psychologists call it deep semantic processing. You might feel slow. You might criticize yourself for freezing when you need to make a choice. But look at the data. You aren't stalled. You are weaving an infinite, invisible tapestry. While others walk a straight line from A to B, you are pulling threads from 20 years ago, braiding them into the subtext of a single hello. You aren't hesitating because you're empty. You're hesitating because your brain is running a massive algorithm to find the optimal path. That isn't a defect. That's supercomputing. You know, I think we've spent so long trying to fix the glitch that we forgot to ask why it's there. But, well, the answer is actually quite simple. If high sensitivity was a weakness, evolution would have killed it off in the Stone Age. But it didn't. It protected it. Why? Because the herd needs you. Back then, the tribe had soldiers. They were the majority, reactive, tough, necessary for the hunt. But a tribe of only soldiers goes extinct. They march straight into the ambush because they don't see the signs. The tribe needed sentries. That is you. You are the seismic sensor of the human race. You feel the tectonic plates shifting deep underground while everyone else is busy admiring the view on the surface. You smelled the smoke before the fire was visible. You sensed the predator in the grass before it moved. Your anxiety is not a disorder. It is a prehistoric survival mechanism. Modern life is loud, it is chaotic, it is unrelenting. It was built by soldiers, for soldiers. That is why you feel wrong. But do not confuse being mismatched with being broken. There is a tax for running a high-bandwidth system. Your battery drains. It drains fast. When you need to retreat, it's because the cup of your consciousness has been filled to the brim by a waterfall, and you just need the water to settle. Science has a name for this: vantage sensitivity. Most people are dandelions. They are robust. They can grow in a crack in the pavement or a muddy field. They are stable, no matter the weather. But you are the orchid. If you try to bloom in harsh, loud, neglectful soil, you will fail. You will wither faster than any dandelion. And you've probably spent years hating yourself for not being a weed that can grow anywhere. But here is the secret. When an orchid is placed in a greenhouse, with the right light, the right quiet, and the right nutrition, it doesn't just survive. It flourishes with a vibrancy that a dandelion can never physically match. You don't need to callous your soul to survive the pavement. You need to transplant yourself to the greenhouse. So, my advice? Stop trying to compress your file size. You cannot rewire your neurology, and you shouldn't try. The world has enough shallow processing. We don't need you to be numb. We need you tuned in. Protect your energy, enforce your limits, respect your need to disappear and recover. The next time someone tells you that you are too intense, take a breath. Smile to yourself. Remember the facts. You don't have a glitch. You are just processing the raw data of the universe. In a world turning to stone, your capacity to feel is the only thing keeping us alive. You are the living, beating heart of a cold machine. You remind us that to be human is to be brave enough to remain soft. It's a lot to take in, isn't it? To realize that your biggest burden might actually be your greatest gift. I wonder, how many of us are still hiding in the shadows? Because you have this sensitive receiver, you might have stayed on the sidelines. Maybe you're the one who reads everything, watches everything, but never says a word. To the algorithm, you're invisible. But psychology suggests this lurking isn't fear. It's a different kind of intelligence.